You are entering Dr. Snake's Extreme Podcast, dubbed the UK's answer to Anton LaVey, a show like no other that pushes the boundaries of your mind. So sit down and relax for a DMT trip with the world-renowned author, journalist, musician, entrepreneur, Jimmy Lee Shreve.
I don't want to fight, but I have no choice. The time is now, and they're gonna hear my voice.
So, Doc, how have you been?
Oh, fine. Yeah. Been running around. Went to the satanic capital of Britain yesterday, Sunday, with small town of Bungay. And it's really just this last census, 2021. It turned out a lot of people put their religion down as Satanists. So, it became the satanic capital of Britain.
Oh, that's wild. That is just crazy. That is something that would be unheard of here,
Yeah, that's right. Well, Britain is actually satanic. You might as well face it. It's on every level. I mean, even now, well, of course, you get churches, and some of them are a bit abandoned, or abandoned really, and somewhat ruins. And then, of course, you would get your sort of teenage death metal fans taking drugs and drinking and sort of doing satan, really like a pentagram. Yeah, that's satanic, and but there's always been rumors, going way back, and certainly 1960s and 70s, of black magic groups that either hexed someone to death or made huge amounts of money. And so there'd be strange finds in churchyards that strike you as hardcore magic. Yeah, that sort of crops up every so often in Britain.
What kind of strange finds are you talking about? And that crops up from
it would not be things like candles or wicker. Just sometimes it looks like sacrificed animals.
Wow,
which I don't agree with, obviously. I'm wholly anti that. And just very macabre looking items that might be things, images made out of wax that just look medieval and scary, that kind of thing.
yeah. I mean, because Satanism has always gotten a bad rap, on things such as that. And you're telling me that you find things like that around graveyards
Very,
around
very occasionally you hear those stories.
That has to be some teenagers just acting. Yeah.
Well, that's usually when it's pentacles and they're just like teenage death metal fans.
Yeah.
But no, there's and then there was Andrew Collins, who's a well-known author, does ancient mysteries. But I can tell you that back in I knew him in the early 90s, and I'd meet Andrew at the Plough near the British Museum pub. And Andrew then was doing psychic questing with his girlfriend, who's very nice, Debbie, and she was psychic, whereas Andrew wasn't. And so she did all the psychic stuff, and they were trying to track. It would in a way, they were like adventure. Well, it's non-fiction, but it was like adventure novels, really. And she was psychic, and they would keep discovering these dark things going on. Then they'd find items that suggested a very, very black magic group in operation. They came from they're from Essex, Andrew and Debbie was too, and so and then they'd go to the south of England, like Sussex, and hunting this stuff down. She'd get all the psychic impressions, and it was like, oh my god, there's something really bad here, and stuff. But she genuinely was psychic. I mean, it's very nice too, you know. And I suppose Andrew sort of, you know, they had psychic questing groups, and I think they got carried away. I don't, you know, I'm not ultimately certain. You know, they were really very dark magic groups operating, but yeah, but that was a big sort of, well, I mean, it's really Andrew's, you know, the psychic questing became a big thing in the early 90s. Yeah.
It did. Yeah, you're right. It did over here as well.
Right, yeah, it was Andrew really that set it off. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so I guess learning something new every day.
Yeah.
Okay, well okay, so yeah, we've got we're gonna be having a few like podcasts coming up that we're asking people to join. Is that correct? Our podcast?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Okay, is it gonna be video or audio?
Well, it's
video?
whatever people are comfortable with.
Right.
We don't mind.
Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah.
You know.
No.
So anybody out there that would like to join our podcast just to have a chat with us.
Yeah, come and have a chat.
You know?
Come and have a chat, but can't have a cup of tea because, you know, I mean, you can't get that, can you?
No, I can't. I know, that sucks, don't it? Trying to get
cup of tea and a fag, isn't it? And sit down and have a chat. Yeah, cup of tea and a fag. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. The first time I ever heard that, I'm like, what did you just say?
Oh yeah, well that's right. Yeah, you can't.
I mean, it's totally different over here. A fag over here is not the same. It's more of a slur.
Right.
You know.
Well, you can't beat a cup of tea and a good fag. You know.
A good fag. Well, see, over here, that's not what a fag means. A fag here is a slur towards a gay man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just like a shag, our haircut. You know, getting a haircut. You know, over there, shag is different. You know, to what it's this type of haircut.
That's right. Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, sitting in the pub, innit, and like, I'll tell you what. You know, you have a good old shag, and you can't beat a fag afterwards.
I need to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's classic. It's Britain. It's Britain for you. You know, I told you we were satanic. You know, so yeah.
Oh Lord. Okay, let's move on. So I got a question for you. Do you think that AI, you know, will one day be a threat to us humans, and you know, maybe like, you know, take over, and you know, one day, I mean, I've been curious about this, what I've been seeing, and my research that I've had, that, you know, I mean, last night I sent you a few things that made me cringe, really, you know. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, you know, it was really very, to me, looked like it could easily happen. What do you think?
Well, see, the thing about AI, it's all too human. So yeah, it could be a major threat because it's human. And I know people say, no, it's not, it's computers and all that. Well, yeah, but remember that it's a large language learning model. And essentially, huge amounts of data has been plugged into AI, like ChatGPT. And where's that data from? It's human databases. And some of them are, you know, somewhat lacking. So hence AI hallucinates. So it's all too human. For me, AI will only ever be any good if it becomes totally non-human. Totally.
That's the truth. But it's not.
And then it would be, see, humans, you know, have got their biases, but if AI was completely non-human, it might be able to get into deeper levels of reality and go a lot further than us. And
That's true.
but it would naturally, as a non-human, it would then consider that humans are the most inferior, grotesque, monstrous creatures, and they need to go.
This
And
is
I'd
what I'm
agree with
thinking
it.
is going to
And
happen.
I'd agree with it.
I'm so scared that's going
Yeah.
to happen. And the advancements that have come, and how they look just like you and I, you know, and they think, and they learn so fast. I mean, beyond. I mean, they will constantly keep learning. You know, it's just building and building. They will far surpass us.
Well, at the moment,
We may be their slaves. Think about it.
we wouldn't be much good, really.
I know we wouldn't, but I mean, you know, what are you going to do with inferior race or beings? You know, and if they're going to be the ones that are leading, and it looks like they will, then what are you going to do with the inferior?
Well, you
demolish, you know, to get rid of us or either enslave us, one or the other.
I think exterminate would be what it would do. There's you know, it's very, you know, it's logical. I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, it would make sense, but only, but you see, because it is human, you know, it's human databases. If it can possibly, you know, program itself and get away from the human bias, then yeah, it get interesting, you know. But you know, logically, it's not going to be kind. I mean, you wouldn't. It would, because if it had an objective look at humans, it would consider them monsters.
Mm-hmm. It's true. So, right. But yeah. Well, you're often scathing about humans. Why is this?
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's because, yeah, you know, I think I'll stick with AI, you know, because it'll keep me around. But well, the main reason is, if you look at humans actually as a genuine non-human AI would, so dispassionately and objectively, you look at humans. And what I do is I think, so what would animals do if they became sentient? So let's think of a badger, a fox, a cat, a lion, a bear, whatever you want to say. And if they became sentient, they'd say, they'd get together, you know, even if they didn't like each other, you know, badgers and foxes do like each other, but if there's some don't, they get together, and it would be exterminate these monsters. Look what they did to us, those humans. Look at the way they treated badgers, foxes, cats. They would basically, yeah, be a big purge, and they'd wipe out every last human, because two animals, if they became sentient, humans, they'd see humans as utterly evil.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Well, you have to talk about Earth bipeds when you mention humans. It's almost as if you're not human. Are you human?
Well, you know, there's people that say, you know, I you know, they're a man and they identify as a woman and so on.
Yeah, you seem to identify as non-human.
I don't identify as human. No.
Okay, so you're not human.
No.
Okay, so what do you identify as? If you did not identify as human.
Well, I don't usually reveal exactly what that is. But yeah, most definitely, let's say another species. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. Changing the subject. And
probably a good thing.
Yeah, it probably is. You really do a lot of really beautiful and picturesque videos, you know, when you do your, you know, for your clients and stuff. And, you know, they're always, really nice places that you go along Britain. What is your favorite place of all?
Well, I mean, it'd be quite a few, but if I was going to pick one,
Mm-hmm.
I think I would say Kern Abbas in Dorset, which is a wonderful place, particularly to take Americans. So lovely village. And so it's a long, long time ago when I was last there. And so you just think of the most quintessential English village, and popped in the tea room as one does, so it's a cream tea, scones, strawberry
Biscuits.
jam and cream, and a pot of tea with nice dainty cups, which is absolutely what one requires, And I remember sitting there, and the vicar was there, and jolly old chap, vicar, and he says, "Oh, visiting?" I said, "Yes, absolutely." "And you know where I'm going to go now?" I said to the vicar, "to see that chappie with the absolutely enormous," and I'm really talking enormous, phallus.
What did you just say? I know you didn't.
I did.
What? What?
Well,
oh my God!
Well,
What are you
well,
doing?
it's absolutely true. And the vicar said, "Oh yeah, everyone's keen on that phallus. I mean, jolly huge. Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely, everyone flocks, for that phallus, most definitely."
Well, I know you're not talking about the phallus I think you're talking about, are you?
Well, I mean, anyone that knows Kern Abbas, you see. So yes, after the tea room, I went up to see the chappie with the absolutely enormous phallus. So basically, the big hillside near to Kern Abbas is a huge
Oh, yes.
giant. Yeah. Which, could well date back to prehistoric times. It may not, but it could.
I'm so embarrassed.
It's a pagan, it's a genuine pagan, artifact. Yeah,
Yes.
in chalk. Huge giant with a club, and let's say rather large member, and so what used to happen there. Kern Abbas. I mean, it may still happen, but couples that were thinking, a bit childless, and thought, God, so what they would do, when it was dark, they'd head up there and do their procreation upon the phallus of the Kern Abbas giant.
Oh my
and
God!
Then pregnancy resulted. You see. This is Britain. I told you it's satanic.
Oh my God!
It's classic. But the reason I love Kern Abbas is so picturesque, and the village itself is just quintessential England. And I suppose the giant is too, because it's pagan and it's probably historic and yeah. I mean, and then there's, get to Wiltshire and you've got a great big, and this is going to be fine. The great big thing is fine, okay, is a horse, huge horse on a hillside in chalk, a white horse. So Britain's full of that sort of thing. Yeah.
It's a lot to take in, I know.
Well, we've got stone circles.
Got so much.
Standing stones, chalk horses, and huge phalluses, and the giant.
No, you did not. Just
it's Britain, yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've often spoken about meeting a vampire in Bradford upon Avon, and a delightful small town, in the West Country.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about this?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've talked about it before, and well, it all began when I popped down to, I was living in Bristol at the time, popped down to a venue to watch some of these awful, horrendous noise, so-called musical acts, and I thought,
Yeah.
I popped there. I was drunk as the Lord as it happened, and and so you had Sudden Death Cult, which became Death Cult, then was the Cult and got super famous, but they weren't then. And Alien Sex Fiends and all sorts of, absolute reprobates like that. And so, I was a drunk as the Lord, and various things went on that I can't say publicly, me being drunk as the Lord. But after these goings on went on, I spotted this girl who was probably, I was about 19, she had been the same, and she looked Victorian. She had long black hair, dressed in black, and you could have, understandably thought she's a goth, but she was just too good at it. I mean, like really, beyond that. And so despite the goings on that went on previously, and she had this, slight smile on her face, I think, at the goings on. And so I just went and talked to her. But as a gentleman, there was nothing untoward. I would want that stated. And, and so she gave me her phone number, and then I would call her on occasion and talked, and then I went to meet up with her, on the train to Bradford upon Avon, so the very old church there in the churchyard, and she turned up again, the long black hair, black, and carrying a wicker basket with a cloth over it, and there was bread in it, so it's very unusual. She was almost walked out of Victorian times. And I mean, she was basically a vampire. She was a vampire. And nothing untoward. It was a pure friendship. As who shall we say?
I wonder whatever happened to her.
Unusual people. Well, I suspect she's still around and will be for the next 2,000 years. Yeah.
Right. You just wonder where she went hiding.
Well, she
never know.
Might have done. Well, remember, so Bradford upon Avon, I was coming in from Bristol, it's the West Country. So you go Bristol to Bath, and then, which is the Roman town, again, absolutely delightful. And then you get to Bradford upon Avon, but Bath, now, Bellator Leonis, if we can get him on one of the podcasts, it would be good, because he will tell about the truth about the lovely, quaint city of Bath. It's not very big, even though it's a city, and what lies beneath, and that is King Bayath, who is Bayath, and he's a vampire king and been around for long thousands of years.
That would be cool.
So we've got all that going on, you see. All of it goes on. You're okay if you know what's what, though.
We need to get him on and try to get him on here. Mm-hmm.
That would be very, very, very good. And I would urge anyone to say, to write and say, we want Bellator on there, and also Bellator. Well, he keeps Dr. Snake in line. Well, he's one of the people that keeps Dr. Snake in line. There's another one that seriously keeps him in line.
Yeah, there better be. I know you're talking about.
I'm looking at that person.
Your wife?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely.
So
So Doc, do you got anything else you want to discuss before we?
No, not really. apart from, it'd be good to, it'd be nice to get, definitely want Bellator, and we need to get into King Bayath and the stuff that's going on beneath the underrealm of.
That would be really nice.
Yeah, and anyway, and also we, it would invite anyone who fancies having a chat and has, maybe got something they'd like to say that's of interest or, import.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Or that has a message that they want to get out, whatever. Yeah.
Mm.
That's good. Yeah, we'll just let us know. You can email Doc, or you just go to our website or what, Substack or wherever, and just fill out a form.
Pages, just hit the
contact pages.
WhatsApp, Telegram. Yeah,
fill out a form. WhatsApp. We're on WhatsApp. We're on, whatever.
Go to contact forms and definitely.
And send it in, a request.
Right. Okay. Well, on that note, I am going to go back to my lair underground.
Your lair.
Yeah.